Yo, what's good on snipers, and welcome back to our National Players Throwback 2000 franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode we had free agency. We also simulated the first 27 games of the season, and we are in a playoff spot. However, it's been a little bit inconsistent still with the goaltending. The defensive play has been a little bit inconsistent, and maybe the depth scoring too. So I'm hoping that our team has a little bit of a better episode in this episode, because we are going to simulate up to a day before the deadline. I think that'll give us a better sense if we should be offloading some pieces like Rob Blake, PJ Axels, and that type of thing, or if we should actually keep contending and trying to go to the playoffs again. Because I think this team could definitely make it back to playoffs with how good our forward group looks. But there has been some underlying problems with like the third line not being able to play defense. So we did make some adjustments at the end of the last episode to our lineup. So we end up scratching PJ Axelson because he has been dreadful through the first 27 games. He's minus 12. He only has one goal as well to show for it. So I'm hoping that obviously if he gets put back in the lineup, he could do better than that. I was thinking about putting in Nat Domicelli, but Nat Domicelli is also a minus 4 through 2 games. So he was playing in that exact same spot. So that like third line just hasn't been good. And as you could also see, we did have an injury to Marcus Sedin, which kind of sucks. It was a herniated disc, so he isn't back still, I believe, till January. So we technically have to rely on John Graham and Dan Ellis, which is kind of not great. But we'll see if it ends up being able to carry our team still into holding on to that playoff spot, because once Sedin's back, hopefully we're much better defensively. Maybe that's just why we've been struggling a little bit, but it's been a good season from the top 6 so far. Most of the guys on the top 6 have been doing their jobs, so I'm just hoping that obviously they continue to do that, because it's nice to have that offense. But yeah, hopefully we get some of the other guys going. Tyler Ernson being in the lineup now will be interesting too, because he has been relatively a good player at the AHL level. Did play one full season in the NHL, but since then has been more of a depth forward for teams, so I'm excited to see if he could actually bring some offense to our team a little bit as well, because he's got good passing stats, so never know if he will help us on that type of thing. So anyways, I think we're ready to continue to simulate in this 2005-06 season and see if our team will be still above 500 by the time we get to the trade deadline, because obviously, like I said, if they're not, then we will probably have to offload some pieces, because we do have some pending free agents that are pretty big, like Rob Blake, for instance, who is a pending UFA. We brought him back just because obviously he's a good veteran to have, but obviously if the team's not doing good, maybe we flip him away. There's also like Nagy and Sullivan who are pending UFAs. I might still hold on to them in the offseason, but I might hold on to them for the rest of this regular season as well, because they have been good so far. Sullivan is 31, but I mean, we could bring him back still potentially for maybe another few years. Not too sure on that front. Nagy only being 26, obviously, though I would like to hold on to him a little bit longer, but I'm not too sure how long term. We also did lock up actually Merida on a nice 8-year extension, so that kicks in next year at $11.9 million. So hopefully he could have his best season yet. He has been good so far this year. But obviously I'm hoping for maybe a 40 goal a year from him. He does have 11 goals through his first 27 games, just under point per game as well. So yeah, I'm hoping he just builds on last year, and then hopefully if we do make the playoffs, obviously he could build upon his first 2 years, because his first 2 years of the playoffs haven't been great so far. So I'm expecting him at some stage to kind of catch fire a bit, but obviously the rest of his team needs to build up around him first and foremost. But anyways, let's simulate some more of the season. Like I said, we'll go to a day before the deadline, just to see how our team is at that stage. And in the next episode, we'll probably simulate the rest of the actual season itself. So basically simulating the season in 3 chunks. That way, if we do end up making the playoffs, it will be it'll be in later August, I guess, when we will be doing the playoffs. Anyways, let's go to the 16th of December and see how we could do in the first half of the month. See if we could find some more consistency to our game or not. I might put Delmore onto the power play depending on how our team does, because he hasn't been on the power play so far, and his offense has definitely declined quite a bit because that Pandolfo has already been injured. Damn, that kind of sucks. Strained hamstring. We're suffering a little bit too much overtime losses as well, which count as actual losses. So we're now just dropped down to 14, 12, and 5-5. And yeah, the St. Louis Blues are still really close to us. We have literally played 7 more games than them, but they're only 4 points back. So we have fallen off a cliff in those last 6 games. And it's probably because of our goaltending situation. If Sedin didn't get injured, I think we'd be simulating a lot better than this, to be honest. Let's see. So what do I want to do in terms of trying to adjust this a little bit? What could we do? What could we do? Yeah, I guess we'll go to power play and put Andy Delmore on the second unit instead of Trevor Daley. We'll do that. I do like Trevor Daley, but I think Delmore obviously is a big piece of the power play right now. So hopefully he can get going a bit. And then what else do we want to do to adjust this? Top 6 has been scoring goals. The bottom 6 has been giving up too much goals, I think. Yeah, Axelson's badly minus. Van Allen's doing terribly defensively. Yeah, it's definitely that third line that's been the biggest problem so far. What do we want to do here? Let's go with something like this. I honestly have no idea. Oh boy. I don't know why our defense is doing so bad. Like, Horzini and Brooks Orpik have been a very good pairing. They're very good plus minus. But every other pairing has struggled. Dan Ellis has been good through 3 games, but not winning enough. John Graham has been really bad. Oh man, I want Sedin back as soon as possible, but he's not back for like a full month still. His injury might be out like long enough to knock us out of the playoff hunt for sure. Because now we probably are out of the playoffs, I would feel like, or very close to being out of the playoffs in the West. Like, we are currently... Actually, we're still in 7th place, but if you go off points percentage, we're probably outside of the playoffs, right? Yep. We are outside of the playoffs by quite a wide margin, too. Technically, based on points percentage, the St. Louis Blues are on 50%. We're on 45.8 because we've played 7 more games than them. We've also probably played the most games almost in the Western Conference too, right? Yes, we have. Oh, that's not great. See, if we would have played like the same amount of games as everybody else, we'd have a better understanding of what our team's capable of. But right now, we're not looking too hot. Not looking too hot at all. We're looking like one of the worst teams in the Western Conference if this team keeps up like this. And it's definitely been a problem of goals against because we've allowed 1 more goal than we've scored right now. Yeah, Sedin being injured is probably the main thing. We did also let go of, I guess, a couple defensemen like Wade Belak, but I didn't think that would have made a huge impact on the defensive core. We do have guys in the system I could call up like Shea Weber and all that, but I'd prefer to wait till a year where we're actually kind of better, so probably next year. But the AHL team, how are they doing? 18, 12, 5, and 1. They're still doing good. Okay. At least the AHL team should make the playoffs, which is good, but NHL team has definitely been a bit inconsistent. All right, let's see if we could find a way to win some games. We're still losing games. Holy crap. Okay. And then we had an overtime win. Pandelfo's back, so we're going to take Axelson back out because he's been terrible. He's been terrible, to say the least. So we'll get him back in there, and that's good. But I think we lost literally almost every game that month. I cannot see what's going on because these trade offers. We still have 2 more games during this month, but we've literally lost every game except for that game against Chicago and the 3rd. We've tied a few games, but we are losing a lot, which is definitely going to hurt our playoff opportunity. 16, 15, 5, and 6. We've played already 42 games, and we're only on 37 points. Oh, yikes. Yeah, I think we might miss the playoffs this year based on that. We might have to trade away Rob Blake, which kind of sucks, but oh well. See, we're still in 7th place, but if we go off points percentage now, we are in 10th place, I think. Yeah, we are one of the worst teams in the Western Conference, and I don't know if in the next 40 games if our team's going to find itself. We've allowed 7 more goals than we've scored now. Oh, man. Yeah, I think the Sedin injury is the main reason. But do we change coaches? Maybe changing a coach would be not a bad idea. Mestre, how does a good fit are you? 63%. Huh. Is there any better coaches out there than 63? Bosner's at 59. 68 in Korstensen. Okay. That's interesting. He's more of an offensive coach. I could still assign this guy as an AHL assistant for right now and then see how he would fit as a head coach on our NHL team. So let's do that. So let's offer him a contract and just see if he'd actually be maybe better for us. Because I kind of do want to make the playoffs, but I don't know. Where has this guy coached before? Oh, he did coach for us. Okay. That's why I did recognize that name. I was like, wait a sec. So we would be bringing back our old head coach from a number of years ago. I mean, I don't mind it, but don't know if he'll actually be our head coach or not. Oh, man, that's kind of weird. I don't even know if we let him go or if we just fired him or what, but it's kind of funny. Okay, let's advance to see if that coach will accept. If he wants to come back, he does, okay. Well, we got ourselves another coach. Sedin is apparently back, which is good. He's not fully healthy yet, so he's... I don't like that he has to play already. Dan Ellis is going to send down on waivers. He might get claimed. Hopefully he doesn't. Okay, he didn't get claimed. That's good. But I need to make sure Sedin's not playing any of these games until he's fully healthy, because if he gets re-injured, that is not great at all, because then our season's definitely done for. So he is back, and that's good. HL, we need to get Dan Ellis back in instead of Toby Stefan. That's good. How was Jimmy Howard playing? Still not the best, to be honest. That's okay. Okay. Okay, let me just make sure he's not in the lineup, Sedin. We want to change him to the backup for all these games until he's fully healthy. So he is still the backup for this game. When is he actually supposed to be healthy? I think it was to the 13th, so it's still like 10 days. So we need to manually do this just to make sure he doesn't get injured. Yeah, January 13th. So he's still out for a while. How much games do we have before January 13th even? Looks like we might have a break coming up, which is good. Let's see. So that's the next 5 games. I'm gonna need to make sure he's not starting. Jeez. Okay. Well, let's go one game at a time. We win the first one. Nice. 5-2. And let's make sure he's not starting against the Edmonton Oilers. Which kind of sucks having him not playing for 5 games, but we got to make sure he doesn't get re-injured, because if he gets re-injured, he won't be back the rest of the regular season, more than likely. Okay, John Graham's still in net, so maybe they are just holding out him until he's healthy. Because if the AI is actually that smart, that'd be nice, because a lot of the time they just throw the same goalie back in, and then he gets re-injured again, which is not what I want. Game against the Oilers. Sedin is been injured with a herniated disc again, but it's only for a month this time. So last time it was for like multiple months. This time it's only for 1 month, but he wasn't even in the lineup as the starting goalie, so he must have had to come in as a backup, and then he got re-injured. Oh boy, poor Sedin. Hopefully this isn't the story of his entire career, like one really good season and then all of a sudden just back injuries like crazy. Like herniated disc injuries are not something that you want to have, especially at his age, I would assume. But yeah, he's been probably, I guess, making too much saves where he's just flopping around on his back or something. Yikes. Or he's just carrying the team on his back, so to speak, like last year he was in the regular season. We did end up winning that game, which is good, but we do not have Marita for another, or not Marita, we don't have Sedin for another month. We are starting to win some games, which is good, but was it only just because Sedin was in the lineup? Seabrook's been injured in the AHL. That's not great. We'll put him back in here shortly. We do win 3 straight games to start the month, which is nice. I was going to think about putting in that other head coach, but this coach is starting to win some games. 4 straight wins. All right. All right, so maybe this team is actually going to start turning the page now that I threatened the coach. Let's keep on going. Game against San Jose is a loss. Jay McClement is back. That's good. He was the top line center because Adam Hall hasn't developed, which is unfortunate, but is what it is. So Jay McClement back in. Seabrook's still out, so okay, that's fine. And we'll continue to simulate here. Didn't see what happened against Carolina. What happened? Oh, we lost again. Oh, come on, guys. We got to be winning games. We got to be winning games because we have played the most games in the league probably. And we're still not doing that well. Let's see if we can beat Calgary. We got 2 games against them in this month. And Seabrook has returned, so that's good. As long as the AHL team has a good year, I'm happy. But I still don't like that the NHL team is kind of having a weird year. At least we'll have our reinforcements next season with the defense, which you guys will be probably really excited about. 3 straight losses in a row as Walker Lacoste has been injured. That's not good. Obviously, top prospect of ours. We do beat the Sharks. Okay. John Scott is injured with an MCL sprain. Yikes. That's not a great injury for the tough guy. We do lose to Arizona as well, as Adam Hall's been injured, who was probably the injury replacement for John Scott. And Walker LaCosta is back. Actually, I guess he was thrown right back in when Hall got injured, so he's right back in. He's already up to a 77. Damn, Walker LaCosta is getting close to being a fourth-line guy for us. Maybe that's what we need as well, as more defensively minded centers. I like it. And we had 2 more wins and a loss. So we're 23, 25, and 6 now at technically February the 1st. How is that in terms of points percentage? We've played 54 games now. This is a really, really weird season. Let's see. Western Conference. Right now we are not in... Actually, we are in 6th place right now in the entire West. But you go off points percentage... We're actually still in the playoff spot at 47% points percentage. That's really weird. So we are now in a playoff spot again. But we're still below 50% in terms of points percentage. Maybe that'll give us a better playoff run. But look at all these teams that are doing really bad, but some of them are in the playoffs. A lot of these teams are on like 45%. Then you have the Canucks, who are dead last again, 36.5. Why are the Canucks so bad in this? That's one thing I want to know, because they have all the talent in the world on offense, but that defensive core is just not good. Volchenkov, Salo, Carney, Van Ryn, Reardon, and Alto. But look at that forward group. The 2 Sedins and Gaborik. That Ahinen guy they just drafted. Eric Stahl, Generous. Jelena as well. Like, literally 7 of their forwards are at least medium elites. So, and their goalies are Jose Theodore and Manny Legacy. Like, they don't have the worst goaltending in the world, too. I am really surprised they're not doing that well. Yeah, Vancouver must have like a morale crisis or something. So we're actually in a playoff spot now all of a sudden. That's kind of surprising. We'll see if we're able to actually maintain it. Obviously, we played a lot of games, so hopefully some of these teams catch up to us in games played, and they end up losing them, and then we could still make the playoffs. But it's been weird this season. Let's go to the 15th. We got 4 more games up to this point, as Sedin's already back again, so hopefully the guy actually stays healthy. So Dan Ellis, once again, you're going down on waivers, my boy. Doesn't get claimed again. I'm glad that he's not getting claimed at least, because if he got claimed, we'd be screwed pretty much. But let's get Sedin back in. And we need to make sure that obviously he's not playing any of these games coming up here. He should be fully healthy this time around, because of the fact that he does come back on the 9th. There's only 2 games before then. So he shouldn't get re-injured, hopefully. And there you go. It says he's back for fully healthy, I think. Right? Yep, he's back and fully healthy. Okay, perfect. So Marcus Sedin, ready to go. He will not get re-injured again unless he suffers a different injury, which is exactly what we need. So our team might be able to start winning some games now that they actually have a legit starting goalie. We win the first one. Adam Hall doesn't matter too much. I'll scratch him. I don't care. Vancouver. We lost in overtime to the worst team. Yikes, that's not good. We lost to St. Louis. That's not good too, because they're not in a playoff spot. And we beat Anaheim 7-5. The Blues have passed us, and they have 3 games in hand too. Chicago's still below us, though. Yeah, this is a really weird sim, man. I don't know what's happening with this team. Like, I'm still not sure if we're actually going to be in a playoff spot or not at the end of the season. Like, if we're like this by the trade deadline, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. Blues are now on 50%. We're still in 8th place there. Yep, still in 8th place based on points percentage. So we're still in a playoff spot, but only by 1%. We have played 3 more games than the Sharks. They could easily pass us. 3 games more than the Oilers. They have a harder time to catch us. Yeah, the one we need to worry about the most is the San Jose Sharks. Of course, the team that eliminated us from the playoffs last season. So, there's a chance we could make it to the playoffs, but we got to worry about these games with San Jose a lot. All right, let's continue the sim line. I know our team's been kind of inconsistent, but if we find a way in the playoffs, maybe we'll have a good run. Maybe we'll just get knocked out in the first round like last year. But we got a total of 4, 5, 6 more games to go before we just stop the simulation on the 1st of March. So let's see what we do. Game against Colorado is another loss. John Scott needs to be back in the lineup because he's back from his MCL injury. So Robinson will come out. So he is back in, good and ready to go. What else we got here? Game against Dallas. 6-3 loss. Ottawa has fired their head coach. Game against Chicago. Another loss. Colorado. Another loss. Weber's been injured with a concussion. Replaced player. And we lost to Arizona now, and we beat Anaheim, but we might have fallen out of a playoff spot because of that month. Or that stretch, I should say. 26, 26, and 5 at the deadline. Of course, it has to be a weird spot for us to end this episode in terms of simulation. We are still in a playoff spot, which I don't know how. But based on points percentage, we are not now. Mathematically, we're only 2 points above the San Jose Sharks, but they have 4 games in hand. Aside from that, the LA Kings have 2 games in hand, and they're only 2 points back, so another team that could pass us. The Vancouver Canucks could even pass us. They have the same amount of games played, but they have only 3 less points. There's still a realistic chance we could fall to one of the worst teams in the West. The Dallas Stars are by far the worst team in the West. But based off points percentage, we could easily fall back to like the 12th team, which is kind of insane. Like, I honestly have no idea what I'm going to do. Like, I might just keep the team the exact same at this point. But we should probably try and get rid of Rob Blake while we can. Maybe, I don't know. This is a weird spot. Definitely been giving up a bit too much goals. 10 more goals than we've scored. So it's only our offense that has been helping us out a lot. But we're still not even close to being the best offensive team. We are one of the worst defensive teams, maybe? And actually not. Not really. Power play has been pretty damn trashed out. So our special teams still haven't been good. Yeah, that's weird. That is weird. See our player stats so far for the season. So, starting off with the centers, Spezza on 64 points. He's been great. Obviously, point per game. Leg one's good, 37 points, plus 10. Pavelski's really struggled defensively in his first 2 seasons. He also started the season off pretty good offensively, but his offense has dried up quite a bit. Like, he's on pace for similar season to last year. It's kind of weird. Arneson on 10 points in 37 games. He's been good since being put in the lineup. I like it. Hartnell on 59 points. Merida on 58 points. Already 26 goals. He might not hit 40 this year. So that kind of sucks. But 58 points is nice. Nagy on 40 points. Pandolfo on 16. Yeah, the defensive play is still pretty damn trash on that bottom 6. Van Allen's up to 30 points, though. So he's been good, too. We have some pretty big pending UFAs, and Rob Blake has been the worst defender pretty much on the team, him and Trevor Daley in terms of defense. But their offense is good. Corzini's been fantastic, though. He's been our best defenseman, him and Brooks Orpik, in terms of defense and also in terms of points for Corzini. In terms of goaltending, John Graham's got a 908 now, and Sedin's got an 898. So he's definitely having a rough year, Sedin. John Graham's already got 3 assists. Yeah, I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with this because we have some pretty big pending UFAs like Sullivan, we said, Nagy, but obviously I'd like to hold on to Nagy. Sullivan's another guy that could get dealt, though, if I want to. Like him and Rob Blake. Are they in part of my picture long term? I feel like right now, at least, they are. Rob Blake, not long term, but until Shea Weber's ready to go. But I don't want to take anybody from the AHL team yet and put them in the NHL because I don't want to risk their playoff opportunity. Let me take a look at that defensive stat line. Yeah, these guys have been good. Yeah, the AHL needs to stay the exact same, so I think we might keep the NHL the exact same in the next episode. Even though they've been inconsistent, I think that's probably the best course of action because I could trade away Rob Blake right now for a lower-end right-handed defenseman. Or I could just call up Shea Weber, but I don't want to call up Shea Weber. So, I got a little bit of a tough decision for next episode, but there's that. I think that's almost it. I am going to look at the trading block just in case I see anything out there already. But, yeah, this has been a weird season for this team. But it doesn't really matter too much if we miss the playoffs, because I think with what's coming in the system, we should be still very hopeful that our team is going to be really good in the next few seasons, especially on the defensive side of things. Like right now, our goaltending is definitely suffering, but when it has a good defensive core in front of it, it should do a lot better. Eucelius on the block. Eric Cole, who never developed early in the series. Chick Manic. That's kind of funny. Matt Green is on the Carolina Hurricanes. Because in 05-06, when Carolina played Edmonton in the finals, he would have been part of the Edmonton Oilers. So that's kind of neat. Brad Warenka, Hackett, Yaroslav Spacek. Yeah, Dallas is having a little bit of morale problems unless Modry is dropping off a cliff, which he might be. Detroit, Adam Foote, Matthew Danino, Nick Lidstrom still on the block. And he's having another good year still. Damn, man. If we were contending for sure, Nick Lidstrom would be great. But there's a chance we missed the playoffs even if we still bring in Nick Lidstrom. Detroit is in a playoff spot though right now, weren't they? I believe they were. Yeah, Lidstrom has too much value. He's probably going to retire this season, which is kind of surprising because he's only 35. Like, in real life, he played all the way to 2012 or 2013, I think. Yeah, so Detroit has some good players on the block, but I don't really want to make a deal with them. I'd rather them just fall off naturally. Nick Backstrom, Joe Corvo is pretty solid, but eh. LA is definitely way out of a playoff spot. Corvo also has a lot of value. So some of these guys would be too expensive and not worth our prospects. Let's see what else we got here. Nazarov, Curtis Phillips being on the block is kind of weird. Greg Johnson has fallen off a little bit, our former top line center. Rolson, yeah, I think I honestly might just keep the team the same the rest of the season, even if we miss the playoffs at this rate. It's just part of the process in terms of developing our team, I think. Obviously kind of sucks considering last year was really good, but in terms of making the playoffs and all that, but then the playoffs weren't too good. Tampa's trying to offload Cam Ward. That's an interesting one. We don't need a goalie prospect, of course, but Cam Ward being on the block is kind of interesting. Because obviously this is the real-life season when he would have won the Stanley Cup and the Conn Smythe. So, Yeah, there's some good players on the block, but to be honest, I think I might just keep it the same. Unless there's some options, like if I go to find trade, what could I get for people like Sullivan and Rob Blake? Because those are the two guys I would be thinking about maybe moving out from. Rob Blake, I could get a second and a third. It's not really that much. Montreal's prepared to offer me, though, a top 4 defensive prospect. I don't know how good that guy is, though. For a guy that's a pending free agent, that's not really that bad. I'm trying to think if I actually want to trade away Rob Blake or not. Like, how good is Zigomanis, out of curiosity? Is he actually a good defenseman or not? I don't really need defensive prospects, though, that much. 65 at 19, no, that's not going to develop, to be honest. So I don't think I'm going to trade Rob Blake. I don't think I'm going to. Just, it's not enough for somebody like him. And in terms of Steve Sullivan, what could Sullivan fetch me? I would like to hold on to him a little bit longer. But he fetches me like the same type of thing. Like a top 6 forward prospect. But we already have a lot of prospects. So it's just like these guys might get lost in the fray, so to speak. So I don't think I'm going to make any trades next episode. But it could potentially change in between episodes. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our National Players Throwback 2000 franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the 2006 trade deadline. We'll simulate the rest of the season and see what ends up happening, because there is a chance we could still make it to the playoffs, but obviously the way the team's playing right now, it seems like we're trending lower and lower in the standings, so I feel like we're going to end up missing the playoffs, which is okay, because we might be able to get ourselves another solid prospect. Sensing down below, and I'll see you guys next time.